And in that simple word, I felt the world shift. The dare was no longer a joke. It was a hinge. Tomorrow would be the barbecue. Tomorrow would be where this small, ridiculous experiment either folded back into the tidy life I'd been living or split it open. I had no idea which would happen. All I knew was that once you let a secret like this breathe, it asks for more than a one-sentence answer. When I left the house that day, the dress tucked under the coat like contraband, I felt both terribly brave and unbearably fragile. Emma kissed me on the forehead as I walked out the door and said, "Have fun with Maya," in that light way she always does. I smiled and nodded and walked away carrying a dare that felt like the beginning of everything. The next morning dawned with the uneasy brightness of a day that already knew it would change something. I woke up early, earlier than Emma, and sat on the edge of the bed staring at the folded dress Maya had left for me the night before. It was simple, cream-colored, sleeveless, soft fabric that fluttered slightly at the hem when I picked it up. But in that stillness, it felt heavy, as if it carried an invisible weight, the weight of what it meant. I placed it back down gently, almost reverently. Then I glanced toward Emma, still asleep, her hair scattered across the pillow like a halo. She looked peaceful, untroubled by the storm quietly forming in my chest. My guilt pressed against my ribs like a bruise. I wanted to tell her. I almost did. But what would I even say? "Hey, Emma, I'm going to wear a dress today because my sister dared me to." It would sound stupid, childish. But it wasn't a joke anymore, not to me. By the time Emma woke up, I'd already showered, dressed in casual clothes, and brewed coffee. I played the part of the boyfriend with nothing to hide. She kissed me on the cheek, talked about her new design pitch for the boutique, and asked if Maya and I had plans. "Just grabbing lunch and maybe visiting Aunt Linda's place," I said, keeping my tone light.
"Good," she said.
"Give Maya my love, and tell her to stop stealing my eyeliner." I laughed at that a little too quickly. "I'll tell her." Inside, though, my thoughts were a mess, circling around fear and excitement like twin stars orbiting each other. Every second closer to meeting Maya made my pulse rise. When I reached Maya's apartment, she was already waiting, holding a makeup brush like a conductor's baton and smiling as if she were about to orchestrate something magnificent. "You came," she said, her eyes lighting up. "I thought you might chicken out." "I almost did," I admitted, hanging my jacket on the back of her chair. "This is insane."
She grinned.
"All good things start that way."
"Now, sit."
"We don't have much time." The first touch of foundation felt like a whisper against my skin. Light, strange, intimate. Maya worked quickly, her movements practiced but gentle. The mirror in front of me reflected not transformation yet, but potential, a blurred version of the person I was, waiting to emerge. "Close your eyes," she said softly. I obeyed. I felt her trace eyeliner along my lids, then dust soft shadows that smelled faintly of rose and powder. Each stroke seemed to rewrite a part of me. She brushed mascara onto my lashes, the tiny click of the wand almost too loud in the quiet. Then she moved on to lipstick, a muted pink at first, then, dissatisfied, she wiped it away and tried something bolder, a shade that made my lips look alive. "Now look," she said. I opened my eyes, and for a heartbeat, I couldn't breathe. It wasn't that I looked beautiful, though in a quiet, confusing way I kind of did. It was that I looked different. The person staring back at me wasn't Alex Turner, the safe, predictable marketing guy. This was someone freer, someone with curiosity in their eyes. Someone who smiled without calculation. Maya stepped back and admired her work. "You could pass," she said, almost in awe. "Like, really pass." I frowned slightly. "That's good? I think." "It's incredible," she said. "But you need a name. Can't have you walking into Aunt Linda's as Alex in a dress." "A name?" I laughed nervously. "What, like a fake one?" "Exactly," she said, her grin widening. "How about..." She studied me for a moment, then snapped her fingers. "Alexa. Close enough to your real name to remember, but it fits." I tried it under my breath. "Alexa." It rolled off my tongue strangely smooth. like something that had been waiting there all along. The dress was next. Maya helped zip it up, adjusting the straps, smoothing the fabric. Every tiny sound, the zip, the rustle, the click of the shoes she'd picked, etched itself into my memory. It was absurdly delicate, the whole process. I was hyper-aware of everything, the air on my bare arms, the slight tug of the skirt as I walked, the unfamiliar sway of my hips. "You walk like you're apologizing," Maya teased. "Try again. Shoulders back. Chin up." I tried again. And again. She watched, corrected, and eventually clapped her hands.
"There.
"That's it. That's you." "That's not me," I said quickly. Her expression softened. "Maybe not the you you've shown everyone, but maybe the you you've been hiding." Her words hit harder than I expected. I looked at myself again, uncertain, scared, yet fascinated. She wasn't wrong. Somewhere deep down, beneath the fear and confusion, there was a spark, an ache, that said she might be right. We drove to Aunt Linda's place in silence, the hum of the car the only sound between us. My heart thudded like a drum every time I thought about stepping out of the car. Maya parked 2 blocks away. "Ready?" she asked. "No," I whispered, "but let's do it anyway." The first few minutes were a blur. The warm summer air hit my skin as I walked toward the house. My pulse raced. The soft click of the heels on pavement felt too loud, like an alarm announcing my secret to the world. I kept expecting someone to shout, to point, to know, but no one did. Inside, people greeted us casually. Aunt Linda waved from the grill. Cousins hugged Maya, complimented her hair. Someone even complimented my dress, and I froze for half a second before mumbling a thanks in a softer voice that surprised even me. I spent the next hour quietly existing.
Talking.
Smiling. Laughing. Pretending to be someone new, and failing to notice the moment it stopped feeling like pretending. Maya watched from across the patio, her gaze calm but knowing. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. For the first time in my life, I felt visible not for what I was supposed to be, but for what I could be. Every small movement, brushing hair behind my ear, crossing my legs, catching my reflection in the sliding door, felt like a revelation. There was an unexpected ease in it all, a strange joy blooming in places IH. Things were going well. Too well, maybe. Until my phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Hey, where are you guys? Aunt Linda just invited me to come too." My blood ran cold. Maya saw the look on my face and grabbed my phone. "What happened?" I showed her. She cursed under her breath. "Oh no," she whispered. "She can't see you like this, not yet." My mind spiraled. If Emma came here, she'd see me in this dress, this makeup, this entire lie. She'd see the secret I wasn't ready to name. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might break, through my chest. "What do I do?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Hide," Maya said, her tone urgent. "Go upstairs, in the guest room. I'll handle it." "But..." "Go." I didn't argue. I slipped inside, careful not to draw attention, and hurried up the narrow staircase. My reflection caught in a hallway mirror, and for a fleeting moment, I saw both versions of myself, Alex and Alexa, staring back, equally terrified. In the guest room, I sat on the bed, hands trembling, listening to the muffled voices downstairs. Maya greeting Emma. Emma laughing, cheerful, unsuspecting. My heart cracked. From the window, I saw Emma talking with Aunt Linda. She looked radiant, confident, real. And here I was, hiding behind a curtain in borrowed clothes, caught between who I was and who I might be. The thrill that had carried me through the morning began to crumble. What had started as a dare now felt like a fault line, one that could split my life in two. I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. Voices. Laughter. Panic surged through me. I froze. Someone tried the doorknob. "Hello." Emma's voice. My breath caught in my throat. The doorknob turned slightly, then stopped. My entire body went rigid. Every sound in the house sharpened. The faint buzz of the air conditioner, the laughter drifting up from downstairs, the pulse hammering in my ears. Emma's voice came again, light, curious, terrifying. "Is someone in here?" I couldn't move. The panic was electric, surging through my skin like static. My mind screamed for an escape that didn't exist. I could already see it. The look on her face when she opened the door, the confusion, the betrayal, the million questions I couldn't answer. Then, before I could even breathe, Maya's voice cut through from the hallway. "Emma, there you are. I was just looking for you. Aunt Linda needs you for the dessert table." The footsteps paused. A long beat of silence. Then Emma laughed softly. "Always making me work at family gatherings," she said, and her voice faded down the stairs. I sagged against the wall, every muscle trembling with relief, so intense it almost hurt. I stayed there for a full minute before daring to move. My reflection in the mirror was flushed, frantic, lipstick slightly smudged, eyes wide. I didn't recognize myself, and yet I did. Maya slipped in a minute later, closing the door quietly behind her. "That was close," she whispered. "She almost saw you." I sank onto the bed. I can't do this. This was supposed to be a joke, a dare. Now it's turning into a disaster. She knelt in front of me, steadying my shaking hands.
Hey, breathe.
"You were fine. No one suspected anything. You pulled it off. But if Emma finds out, then you'll talk to her. You'll figure it out." Maya's voice softened. "But right now, let's get you out of here before something else happens." We waited until the chatter downstairs swelled again before sneaking out through the back door. I kept my coat pulled tight around me, but even with the summer breeze, my skin felt hot, feverish. My mind raced between guilt and exhilaration. I'd just lived through the most terrifying and thrilling hours of my life, and part of me didn't want it to end. We reached Maya's car, and she handed me makeup wipes from the glove compartment. "You did amazing," she said as I wiped away the traces of Alexa. "I mean it. You looked confident, natural, like you belonged." I gave a small, shaky laugh. "You really think so?" She smiled. "I don't think so. I know so." For a moment, her confidence in me felt contagious. Until my phone buzzed again.
Emma.
"Hey, you left your jacket here. Maya said you went home early. Everything okay?" I froze mid-motion. "She's texting me. Just say you weren't feeling well," Maya suggested. "That's believable." I typed out the lie with trembling fingers. "Yeah, just a headache. Sorry, didn't want to make a fuss." Her reply came quickly. "Okay, love.
Rest.
I'll be home soon." The word love pierced me. The guilt deepened, twisting inside like a knife. I'd hidden from her, not just physically, but emotionally. What had started as a harmless dare now felt like a betrayal I couldn't undo. Back at Maya's apartment, I changed back into my jeans and t-shirt. The clothes felt wrong. Heavy, dull, too sharp against my skin. After hours of moving as Alexa, returning to Alex felt like shrinking back into something too tight. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my reflection in the darkened TV screen. No makeup, no dress, no color, and yet the ghost of her lingered. The subtle way I still crossed my legs, the softness in my gestures, the way I caught myself brushing invisible hair from my face. "Stop overthinking," Maya said, handing me a glass of water. "You had an experience. That's all. Don't make it bigger than it is." But I couldn't stop thinking about it. The sensation of the dress, the confidence, the strange peace I'd felt while walking through that barbecue, unseen but alive. It wasn't just fun, it was freeing. And that scared me more than anything. Emma came home late that night. I'd already showered, changed, and tried to look normal. She dropped her purse on the counter and smiled. "You okay?" she asked, touching my cheek. "You look pale." I forced a laugh. "Just tired." She studied me for a moment, concern flickering in her eyes. "You're sure? Maya said you were quiet today." "That's not like you." "Maya exaggerates," I said quickly, turning away to pour water. My hands shook slightly, but I hid them behind the glass. Emma tilted her head, watching me. "You're acting strange." "I'm fine," I insisted, my voice too sharp. Just had a weird day. She didn't press. She never did when I was in one of my moods. Instead, she wrapped her arms around me from behind, resting her chin on my shoulder. "Whatever it is," she whispered, "you can tell me. You know that, right?" I nodded, unable to speak. Her warmth pressed against my back like forgiveness I hadn't earned. I almost told her then, almost. But the words dissolved on my tongue. Days passed. I told myself it was over, that the dare had ended at the barbecue. But the image of Alexa haunted me. Every time Emma left for work, I'd find my thoughts drifting toward the vanity table. The lipstick, the perfume, the faint scent of powder in the air. I tried to ignore it, to bury the urge under deadlines and meetings, but it always came back. One afternoon, the temptation became too strong. Emma was gone, and the apartment was silent. I stood in front of her closet, fingers hovering over a soft lavender dress I'd seen her wear once on vacation. My heart pounded so loud it drowned out everything else. Just once more, I told myself. Just to remember. I slipped into the dress, the fabric cool against my skin. It fit tighter than I expected, tracing lines of my body I rarely acknowledged. My reflection blinked back at me, hesitant but curious. I added a touch of lipstick, Emma's shade, and for a moment, everything inside me fell quiet. Then a sound shattered it. The sound of keys in the door. My blood turned to ice. I stumbled backward, tripping over the hem of the dress. The lipstick rolled off the counter and hit the floor. Emma's voice echoed through the apartment. "Alex? You home?" Panic surged. I scanned the room for escape routes. Too late. The bedroom door was open. The mirror reflected everything. I yanked off the dress, struggling with the zipper that refused to budge. My hand shook so hard I could barely breathe. The door handle turned. I grabbed a blanket from the bed and wrapped it around myself just as Emma stepped inside. "There you are," she said with a smile. "I didn't think you'd be home this early." I nodded, voice caught in my throat. "Yeah, just resting." She frowned slightly, then her eyes caught something on the floor. The lipstick. Emma bent down, picked it up, and smiled. "You were borrowing my lipstick again?" she teased. Or was Maya over? My heart nearly stopped. I forced a weak laugh.
Maya.
She came by earlier. "Figures," she said, placing it back on the vanity. "She never returns things." She kissed me on the cheek and left to make tea, completely unaware that I was trembling under the blanket. As soon as she was gone, I collapsed onto the bed, every nerve in my body screaming from the adrenaline. That was too close. Too close. And yet, a part of me wasn't afraid anymore. A part of me was thrilled. Over the next few weeks, I found excuses, tiny, pathetic excuses, to dress again when I was alone. A scarf here, a blouse there. Always careful. Always quiet. Always with the door locked. But each time, the feeling grew stronger. The line between Alex and Alexa blurred until I wasn't sure which one felt more real. Then, one afternoon, I received a text from Maya. "You've been quiet. Still pretending it was just a dare?" I stared at the message for a long time before typing back. "I can't stop thinking about it." She replied almost instantly. "Then don't. Maybe it's time you stop hiding from yourself." Her words hit like lightning. I set the phone down, pacing. She made it sound so simple, but it wasn't. If I told Emma, if I admitted everything, I could lose her. But if I didn't, I'd lose myself. That night, when Emma came home, I couldn't meet her eyes. She sensed it immediately. "Alex," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "What's going on?" "Nothing." She crossed her arms. "Don't lie to me." The air in the room thickened. I could feel the truth pressing against my teeth, begging to be spoken. But fear won again. I muttered something about stress, about work, about nothing that mattered.
Emma looked at me for a long time.
"You're hiding something," she said softly. "And I don't know if I want to know what it is." Her words lingered after she went to bed. I sat in the dark, staring at the mirror, at the reflection of a man who was no longer sure who he was supposed to be. The next morning, I woke to sunlight pouring across the vanity. The The lipstick was still there, standing upright like an accusation. I picked it up, turned it in my hands, and noticed the faint crack in the tube where it had fallen. It felt like a symbol of everything inside me, split but still whole. Still there. Still waiting. I looked at my reflection and whispered, "Who are you?" The mirror didn't answer, but deep inside I already knew. The morning felt unusually still. Even the city noise outside seemed distant, muted, as if the world was holding its breath alongside me. Emma was still asleep, her soft breathing steady in the next room. I sat at the vanity again, the one that had become my quiet confessional. The cracked lipstick sat there like a relic of everything I'd tried to suppress. I stared at it for a long time, then slowly unscrewed the cap. The color gleamed in the sunlight, soft rose, the same shade that had once made me feel alive. My heart thudded against my ribs. I didn't even realize my hand was trembling until the lipstick brushed my lip. The faint scent, sweet, nostalgic, filled the air. I exhaled, shakily, and whispered, "Just one last time." I leaned closer to the mirror and finished what I started. The color suited me too well. The way it softened my face, changed my expression. It didn't look like a disguise anymore.
It looked right.
I slipped into the same lavender dress I'd worn weeks ago. The zipper went up smoothly this time, as if it wanted to help. When I turned to face the mirror, Alexa stared back, not timid this time, but composed, serene. The fear that had once haunted me was gone. And that was when I heard Emma's voice. "Alex." My blood froze. Footsteps.
Close.
Too close. I spun around, trying to think, trying to hide, but it was too late. The bedroom door opened. Emma stood there, framed in the morning light, her expression unreadable. Her eyes swept over me, over the dress, the makeup, the trembling hands clutching the vanity. For a second, she didn't move. Neither did I. The silence stretched so long it became unbearable. Then finally she spoke. "How long?"
Her voice was calm. Too calm.
Emma. I can explain." "How long?" she repeated, her tone harder now. I swallowed. My throat felt dry.
"Since that day."
"Since Maya's barbecue." Emma blinked slowly, processing it, then laughed, soft, disbelieving. "So, that's what's been going on. The weird lies, the distance, the late nights." She shook her head, eyes glistening. "You are becoming her." The word hung in the air, her. And for the first time it didn't sting. "I didn't plan this," I said quietly. "It just happened. I didn't mean to hurt you." She took a step closer, searching my face. "But you did," she whispered. "You hid this from me. You hid yourself." "I didn't know how to tell you," I said, my voice breaking. "I was scared. Of what it meant. Of losing you." Emma's eyes softened, just for a second, before she looked away. "You already did." The words hit harder than I expected. My knees almost gave out. She walked to the dresser, picked up her phone and whispered, "I need some time." Then she brushed past me and left the apartment without another word. The front door closed with a quiet click. And just like that, the world went silent again. I sank onto the bed, still dressed as Alexa. My hands shook as I stared at the mirror. The person staring back wasn't Alex anymore, and for the first time, I wasn't sure if I wanted him back. My phone buzzed. A message from Maya. I heard from Emma. "She knows. Are you okay?" I typed slowly.
"No."
Another pause. Then her reply came. "Then maybe it's time you stop running. Come over. We'll figure this out." I looked at myself one last time in the mirror. The soft makeup, the faint shimmer of light across the dress, the tear tracks cutting through the lipstick. A deep breath, a trembling exhale. And then, in a whisper meant only for the reflection, I said, "My name is Alexa." The screen fades to black. A heartbeat sound echoes faintly, then stops.